Oh, talk about mixed messaging. Where the hell do I begin with that one? Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome along to the Rovers Rant podcast, where we discuss everything red and white, everything Robins related, and indeed much else besides in the rugby league world. This, of course, is an instant reaction video to Rovers' unconvincing, underwhelming, and utterly placid performance against the Catalan Dragons. Somehow coming out of that as 28-10 winners, which means, of course, that we go on or extend our winning run to 4 in a row, and I was going to say continue our ascent of the table, but we haven't moved for a good long while. But we're totting up the points and the victories, all right? I'm going to be extremely interested in the comment section this week. I of course, always read every single one, from the scandalous to the helpful to the vitriolic. I'm looking forward to seeing, Red Army, what indeed you thought of that one. We'll get onto the grander narratives later on, but it started oh so pleasantly. It started oh so skillfully. It looked as if we were going to ton up, simply put. It looked as if we were going to run riot, run them ragged, and it looked as if that John Cartwright would probably be sacked at half-time. We scored 68 points, didn't we, against the Catalans last year, when suddenly Benjamin Garcia had the eyes of a shark and punched Mikey Lewis and bit Elliot Minchella's ear and all the rest of it, and then got a 10-game ban. We really did go to town on them that night. I think it was the week after Wembley, and I thought something similar was on the go. So we get a very, very early try from Jack Broadbent. I think that was on the 6th or the 7th minute. He just cuts in on his own line, does something similar to what Elliot Minchella does sometimes. It was actually unfortunate that we didn't score in the previous passage of play, because that was the initial break. But it's Broadbent who cuts in and shifts the angle of everybody's hips on the pitch. Charlie Staines can only flap an arm at his crotch, and he goes in under the posts. Then Jez Litton gets one, the give and go from Elliot Minchella. Lovely little offload. We'll get onto the captain's performance tonight, because I think he is aging very nicely, and becoming quite the loose forward again, which is nice to see, given that he was a little bit lacklustre in the mid-season. Minchella gives one off nicely to Litton, who just about has the pace against Staines and de Relator. And then Broadbent gets another one, a rather innocuous break from Peter Hiku. Broadbent's the only one backing up, really, and just about has the pace once more to go scuttling in. And then all of Catalan's numbers come up at once. There is a sort of tempting kick to the corner. I think it's by Ryan Hampshire. He was doing a lot of it tonight, though it could have been Jez Litton. Burgess sort of goes up for the ball. It goes backwards from, I think, de Relator to Charlie Staines. He's then one-on-one with Burgess, sort of does a Lockie Miller kind of bounce off. He sort of rebounds off of Burgess, looks left. There's an echelon of Rovers players, none of whom feel like tackling. Of course, Jai Whitbread is not exactly known as the most agile person in the Super League, and so Charlie Staines skins everybody, and Davis is the only one running after him. Davis, of course, running as per usual, like a schoolboy late for his geography lesson. Okay, he was rocketing down the corridor there, but it was to no avail. So Staines gets one from 95 metres out. Of course, Aspero Bichet kicks the goal, even though the wind was coming off of the docks, as per usual. And we get another one before half-time. Some quite good work from Rhys Martin on the left centre to Burgess. I can't think why Rhys Martin was selected as the left centre there. I think it was worth giving Noah Booth a go. I know that playing on the wing is very different to playing in the centre, even though it's only about 6 yards difference. Okay, I know that the characteristics are different, the outlook is different, the defensive mentality is different, yada yada, and the physiques techniques are different a lot of the time, but I think Noah Booth could have done it better than Reece Martin did. I actually expected him to be skinned a lot more. Okay, I thought that he'd be done for pace a lot more, and to be honest, he actually ground. Was it Cottridge mainly on that side tonight? I think it was, wasn't it? It was Cottridge that was going for him. Couldn't get round him. Had it been the other side with Durella Tour and with whoever else was playing on the right-hand centre for Catalans. Forgive me for not knowing the itinerary of their squad entirely, but there we go. And so yeah, it's 22-6 at half-time, and you're imagining, just like we did at the Castleford Tiger Stadium last week, that we would go on to post many points in that second half, and instead we simply I'm not going to say we collapsed, but we sort of yeah, it seemed as soon as it was 22-6 that our minds were in the ice baths. Our minds were in the sauna. Our minds were turning to the Warrington Wolves on Tuesday. All right, and now that's sort of fair enough. Okay, it's a heavy schedule, and there's a concatenation of fixtures coming in the next 9 days. Concatenation is another word for your notepads, and you understand that. But there's still a job to finish. Catalan are no mugs. They've turned us over this year already. Okay, and they can score quickly, as we've seen with Charlie Staines and Lewis Dodd and Toby Sexton and Cruz Leeming. Okay, when they are firing, they can be a pacey outfit indeed. And yet, just stupid things. Sam Luckley looking for an offload that simply isn't there. Tavita Pangai Jr. getting up on the ball and dropping it. Peter Hiku planting the ball on Tommy Makinson's boot and dropping it. Tom Amone trying to get an extra yard even though he's already held and dropping it. It was just immensely frustrating from the sofa. And yeah, the ball security was just abysmal in that second 40, okay? We were completing at, I think, 95% at half-time, and then we completed at -7% in the second half, all right? That is, of course, a mathematical impossibility, and yet we somehow managed to achieve it. Not very good. And so we kept inviting Catalan Dragons in. Eventually they get a score, of course, through Tommy Makinson on the left-hand side with a numerical advantage. But really, a side worth their salt, a considerable side, okay, would have scored another 3 tries in that second half, and we would have been biting our nails and clenching our buttocks by game's end. Thankfully, we were not. Let's go sort of player by player. Of course, I'm very, very glad that Mikey Lewis will be making a rambunctious wide-eyed return next week. Elliot Manchella looks to be back to his best almost, not slipping off many tackles anymore, not losing his rag in the in the fight as he has been known to do so often. Okay, you don't see him collaring anyone really. Still a dirty player, I know, but he's not a naughty boy anymore really, and he's not penalised much. He is carrying the ball nicely and beating the marker. That's his signature play. Is getting the ball as first receiver and skipping back on the inside against the grain and beating whoever it is that's sprinting after him. And he's doing that really well now. He's probably averaging 6, 7, 8 yards a carry, which for somebody who isn't either a winger or a fullback is mighty impressive. Still good with the ball handling, and indeed he went up for a successful captain's challenge tonight, didn't he? Although we eventually lost it. Jack Broadbent was very, very busy, and probably our cleanest player tonight. 2 tries very early on, will have been gagging for a hat-trick, one that never came, very, very safe under the high bomb, makes a sort of try-saving tackle on Daryl Latour in the second half after his break, catching the ball, not just kind of stood square-footed at fullback, but in the air, in aerial contests with Makinson and co, okay, not an easy feat, and that's, we've been loving Jack Broadbent's effort, okay, ever since he burst onto the scene for us in 24, but we've always had certain qualms qualms and certain worries about his technical ability, and it seems that he's sharpening himself up and he's becoming more skillful by the week. Tavita Pangai Jr. was obviously the kind of show-stopping headline tonight, and we were looking for an awful lot more. Didn't play a great deal and didn't do a great deal. I don't remember him bumping off any defenders. I don't remember him getting over the advantage line, as it were. I don't remember him landing on his front in a tackle. I do remember him fluffing his lines at the play of the ball. I do remember being put on his backside. And so it may well be that he didn't need to lose 10 kilograms and that he is now a weakling. Who knows? Who knows? But yeah, I thought that he was going to put the Earth on a different axis tonight. Okay, I really did think that he was going to move us a few kilometres closer to Jupiter with his strength, and yet was no more notable than the 3 or 4 other prop forwards who are plying their trade tonight. Yeah, who else can we go through? Tom Davies passed to HIA, thank goodness. Sam Luckley was a little bit puppyish and a little bit keen with his offloads, though it's nice to see him getting the arm free. Jordan Desiree and Suaso Su were completely rested. Jez Litton is Jez Litton, okay, scampering from dummy half, finding space where there is none, capitalising on a moment's free time, dodging through the middle, okay, looking for the offload, and getting off the line quickly. Who else am I? Yeah, and I suppose credit to Reece Martin as well. I thought that he would be a real weak spot for us on that left-hand side. I thought that he would be ran round, okay, and it may well be that if he is forced to be a substitute in that position next week, that he will be ran round by Hopawate and by Toby King and by Matty Ashton. But we will cross that bridge when we come to it. So there we go. 28-10 in the end. The Lee Leopards have gone and beaten the Leeds Rhinos. Who'd have predicted it? This guy. And though there is, of course, a kind of academic and professional pride in predicting an upset, it doesn't do a great deal for us in the hierarchy, in the table. It means that we are now on the same points as the Leopards, and that we may well finish the season 6th, which, of course, gives us absolutely no chance in the playoffs. But I'm sorry if I'm spoiling that result. But Adrian Lamb's men have gone and turned the tables at Headingley. The first defeat for the Rhinos at Headingley this season. And Warrington have done a decent job on the York night. So there we go. We looked vulnerable tonight, although we only conceded 10 points. Lots of clean breaks, it seemed. Lots of times where Catalans came steamrolling down the pitch. I'm sorry to be the negative Nelly and the naysayer, okay, but I'm saying it how it is. And if we are going to enjoy Hulkingston Rovers at their best, we have to criticise them at their worst, or when they are middling. Middling is another word for your notepads this evening. So there we go. It's 47 degrees Celsius in this room. It is the temperature of a Burmese sweatshop, so I'd better mop my brow one final time. Caught your comments down below. Thank you ever so much for watching. I have been Joe Spivey, the lanky shyster, in 60 frames per second, and I am now going to waddle off to the toilet, brush my teeth, and say goodnight to the world. But there we go. Another victory for Rovers, and not a result that I think will be repeated on Tuesday, but we'll get to that next week. Thank you ever so much for watching. I will see you again sharply in another one.